Hello, Mr. Hardy here, and in this video I would like to teach you about alliteration. So what is alliteration? Alliteration is when you have many content words. Content words are words that have meaning, that are close together. They could be within the same sentence in a story, they could be within the same line of poetry, they could be in the same headline of an article, for example. And all of these content words that are close together, they all begin with the same letter or sound, and we call that technique alliteration. First example, the giant, gentle giraffe. In this sentence, giant, gentle and giraffe all begin with the letter G, and all of those sounds make a G sound. In sentence 2, Chris the killer chicken, even though Chris and chicken begin with the letter C and killer begins with a different letter, the letter K, they all have the K sound. So you could say that this is also alliteration. I use this example because you can also use proper nouns, names of people, places, things, as part of your alliteration. The final example is not an example of alliteration. There is an alligator, an alligator both begin with the letter A and they both have the A sound. That is true, but an is a function word. It's a word used for grammatical purposes. It's not a content word. It doesn't carry any meaning. Therefore, that would not be a good example of alliteration. So I've written a short paragraph. Can you spot the 3 examples of alliteration? My favourite place in the world is London Zoo. I could watch the silly seals swimming all morning long. Or even better yet, I could listen to those crazy chimpanzees chitter-chattering all afternoon. In the evening, I would sunbathe with the scaly silver snakes in their terrariums if I could. So a short paragraph. Hopefully you identified the alliteration of the S sound in silly seals swimming, the C sound in crazy chimpanzees chitter-chattering, and the S sound in sunbathe, scaly silver and snakes. So here are some tips to use alliteration in your writing to good effect. First tip, use alliteration to draw attention to something in your writing, an important noun or an important character or an important part of the setting. Use alliteration to draw attention to that, or to reveal an aspect of its nature, so to give more detail about that object, that character, that setting. So maybe I'm writing about a character who is eating some food and I have written, I tasted the carrot. Nothing wrong with that sentence grammatically, it's just a little bit boring. I could be more creative. Clearly the carrot is the important part of the meal, and I want to draw the reader's attention to the fact that the carrot was the best part of the meal, and I also want to reveal a bit about the nature of the carrot. Why was it the best part of the meal? So I use alliteration, and I wrote, I tasted the crisp, crunchy carrot. So now with the repetition of the 3 C words with the K sound, I've drawn attention to the carrot. Not only that, I've revealed the quality of the carrot, why I liked it so much, because it was crisp and it was crunchy in its texture. So here alliteration draws attention to the key noun in the sentence, the carrot, and it reveals something about the carrot's quality. Alliteration tip number 2, do not overuse alliteration. I recommend between 3 to 5 alliterative words beginning with the same letter or sound within your sentence in the story or line of poetry or headline in an article, within a small space, no more than 3 or 5 alliterative words. If you only use 2 alliterative words, the examiner might not pick up on it. They might think it was accidental. If you use more than 5 words that all begin with the same letter or sound, it's a bit overkill. It's over the top. It's not how most people would write. So an example of too much alliteration, the sinister shadow secretly slipped into Sue's shoes. I spent so much time making sure the next word began with the letter S that I actually lost track of where my sentence was going, and I have a bit of a jumbled sentence that doesn't really make sense or add anything to my story. Whereas the second example is much better. The sinister shadow slinked off into the distance, looking for its next victim. I've decided the shadow was the noun I want to focus on, and I gave it the adjective sinister and the verb slinked, all beginning with S, so I get that repeated S sound. And this is a good example of alliteration. It's not over the top, but it's clearly intentional. I've done it on purpose, and the examiner will pick up on this, and you can get marks and be rewarded for using alliteration in your writing. Alliteration tip number 3. Always alliterate content words. Now, content words are words with meaning, so such as if I say the word apple, you can imagine an apple in your head. If I say the colour red, you can imagine the colour red in your head. These words have meaning. We call them content words. Do not alliterate function words. Function words are words that don't have meaning, but we use them in sentences to make them grammatically correct. So words such as the, and, a, an. We do not include these when we alliterate. So an example of poor alliteration. Look over there at the trees. Yes, there, the and trees all begin with the letter T and the T sound, but there and the have no meaning. They're function words. They're not content words. So this would not count as good alliteration. Good alliteration would be along the lines of, look at those tall, towering trees. Tall is a content word. It has meaning. You can imagine the word tall. Towering, again with tower, you can imagine that in your head. Therefore, these words are content words. They alliterate, so they draw our attention to the trees, but not only that, they reveal a quality of the trees. These aren't small trees. They're so big they look like man-made towers. So, alliteration practice. Task 1 is a fun task. So I want you to pick any animal that you like, and I want you to write the longest alliterative sentence that you can about it. You know, have fun. If you can do 20 or more alliterative words, go for it. For example, Freddy the firefighting frog fought ferocious fires on Fridays. And if you can extend it and keep going for as long as you can, have some fun with it. Task 2, I want you to use the same animal, but I want you to write what I would consider proper alliteration. So a sentence that uses 3 to 5 of the best alliterative words that reveal something about that animal. So if I was sticking with the frog, I wouldn't go on and on about how it fights fires on Fridays. I'd take it seriously, and I'd use words that reveal information about the frog itself. Task 3, I've got 3 nouns, car, sand and pen. Your job is to write 3 alliterative adjectives that describe each noun and reveal something. So for the car, you might want to write clean, you might want to write cool, and then think of another adjective beginning with C. For sand, you might go for the adjective sharp or soft, and maybe think of another one. With pen, you could go for precise, perfect. And what I want you to do, I don't want you to write the alliterative sentence, the alliteration. I just want you to think, what adjectives could you use that reveal a quality about the car, the sand or the pen? Just getting you to expand your vocabulary and think of lots of different adjectives. And task 4 is quite fun. I want you to write a short poem, so roughly 4 lines, about a birthday party, and in that poem, in that one stanza, we can call it, one paragraph of a poem, I want you to use some alliteration. So those are your 4 tasks to practice alliteration. If you found this video useful for understanding alliteration, please give it a like. Please also subscribe to my Mr. Hardy YouTube channel, where I'll make more videos about a variety of creative writing techniques. And if you are willing to share the alliteration that you did for those 4 tasks at the end with me, please leave them in a comment below if you are comfortable doing so. So thank you for your attention, and I'll see you on the next one.